Hello, everyone, and welcome into today's edition of Pack-A-Day Podcast YouTube edition. Per request from viewers, I am back in the absence of Andy Herman, and I figured I would bring on a special guest with me this time. So please welcome Greg Larnerd from The Word with G, ESPN Chattanooga. Greg, how you doing?
I'm great, Jenelle. It's good to finally be back. We haven't gotten a chance to record anything really Packers-wise. I think I had you on my show during the season over the last year or something like that because you had been getting on me how I asked Todd, and I asked Dan, I never
I
asked
know, I got
Jenelle.
replaced as your Packers person.
No. You've expanded my Packers Twitter horizon. So I have just a ton of more people, and you and I have done a lot of stuff in the past. So I thought, let me give some of the other guys some shots. And
Yeah, okay.
maybe if I had you on to preview the playoff game, we would have won instead of Todd.
Yeah, we can blame Todd for that one for sure.
Always.
But I think you have been on Pack-A-Day Podcast, the listener version, before, so you are not new to this platform, but we have probably gained many more followers since then. So for those who don't know, I guess, obviously you're down in Tennessee now when you were on the first time you were in New Orleans, so you've kind of
technically Lafayette, but yes, Louisiana.
Lafayette,
Yeah.
or you were,
I was
covering
in
more the
Louisiana.
Saints, but
Yeah.
you're somewhere down there. So you've moved on to bigger and better things since we last talked, but maybe just kind of let the people know how you're a Packer fan, even though you live in the South currently.
So the way I became a Packer fan is growing up. I grew up in Connecticut, and my dad was a big Mets fan for the baseball and Knicks fan for basketball, but football wise, he didn't really have a team. So the only thing he taught me growing up in the early to mid 90s was to dislike the Cowboys, which is always very solid advice for anybody.
Absolutely.
And yeah, where I went to school in my first house in Connecticut, my best friend was a Dolphins fan. I was like kindergarten, first grade. I thought Dan Marino, the Dolphins. My parents got me this little mini football with the Dolphin logo on it. I had a pillow, and I didn't know if I'm moving right now, so I didn't know if I was still on the table, but I still have it. It's a little Dolphin pillow. And, I was like, oh, the colors are cool. Dan Marino, like, he's really good. And so I just kind of followed them for a couple of years while, again, I was like 4, 5, 6 years old. And then he moved away, and I moved across town. My new best friend was a Packer fan, him and his dad. So it just kind of worked out that way where, I just started following them and fell in love with Brett Favre and Reggie White and Antonio Freeman and Desmond Howard and, just all of these different guys that played with the Packers, and Bill Schroeder and Aaron Campman. And the list went on and on and on. As I got older, I started to really pay attention and follow them. And in the mid-90s, they were good, going to back-to-back Super Bowls in 96, 97. Unfortunately, couldn't get the back-to-back Super Bowl victories, but at least they got there twice in a row. And I just remember crying like a baby when it was 1997 and I was 8 years old and just devastated that they didn't win again.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. I love hearing about how people become fans of the team. And it sounds like from a young age, you were really playing the field to try and find the team that you'd one day not only love, but also try and cover, even though you are in a little bit of enemy territory. And it's kind of interesting the way it played out this year. You doubled down on the heartbreak. You cover the number one seed for the AFC, and you're a fan of number one seed for the NFC. Both lost in the divisional round. So I know I hate to bring it up, but how did you kind of cope with that divisional round?
It was tough, just because you win the NFC, you have the best record in the entire NFL, and to lose to the 40, again, if you were just about anybody else, obviously would have hurt if it were the Bears, the Vikings, or any NFC North team, but to lose to the 49ers again, and Janelle, you know it, you have to see the clips all over the place of Aaron Rodgers, on draft day when, he said, oh, how upset were you that you didn't get a chance to get drafted by San Francisco, your hometown team? And he said, not as disappointed as they're going to be that they didn't draft me. And now all they've done is own him in the postseason, 0-4 Rodgers now against the 49ers. And it's just such a disappointment because, and I talked about this on the radio show, I talked about this with friends. It was, if you went out the way that Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills went out, yeah, it sucks and you're frustrated and you're annoyed, but at least you went down with a fight. And now this team, the Packers not known for their defense, but they showed up on defense. And going into the postseason, that was what I was most excited about. You're getting Zadarius Smith back, Jair Alexander's getting healthy. This is awesome. We're finally going to be at full strength defensively. What Preston Smith did this season, kind of off of a bad year last year, and then Rashawn Gary taking another step when a lot of people would go out there and call him a draft day bust, that the Packers maybe reached a little bit on him, and just getting all these pieces back defensively, Devondre Campbell and Rasul Douglas, the way that they played all season long was just so impressive. And then again, to get the reinforcements back, you're like, okay, finally, this is what made us feel so confident as Packer fans that we had a championship level team, because we were getting reinforcements back. And our offense got Aaron Rodgers, Davante Adams, A.J. Dillon, Aaron Jones, Lazard. We're going to be just fine. And as the sign back here, there it is, says, I was very relaxed when it came to offense. And the fact that you go out scoring only 10 points in the game that ends up ending your season is just uber disappointing. And the fact that that might be Aaron Rodgers' last game as a Green Bay Packer, again, just hurts even worse. And obviously not everybody can go out the way that they want to, winning a Super Bowl championship and ride off into the sunset. But if that was the last snaps for Aaron Rodgers, again, just very disappointing that it ended the way that it did and that they couldn't find a way to put more points on the board. And I'm really disappointed in Matt LaFleur and that offense, because I thought they'd be a little bit more creative. And it sort of reminded me of what Mike McCarthy used to do, just banging his head into the wall and saying, all right, we're going to continue. This is the way we've done it all season long. This is the way we're going to continue to try to do it and try to win. And they just kept trying to go to Davante, and give credit to DeMeco Ryans on the other side. He said after that first drive, all right, we're going to make somebody else beat us. And Aaron Jones did his best to try to beat him, but that was really the only other weapon that Aaron Rodgers and that Packers offense utilized. There wasn't a lot of RPOs. There wasn't as much motion. MVS wasn't there. Lazard was basically a zero. DeGuara didn't do anything. They targeted Dominic Daphne twice.
Yeah.
It was just, it was just frustrating and a little baffling that at this moment and this team, you felt so confident about them, because 2 years ago in Matt LaFleur's first year, overachieve. Aaron doesn't even have a great season. You get to the NFC Championship game. The 49ers were the better team. I get it. They get run out of the building. I understand it. Last year, you felt like you had a great team, picked off Tom Brady 3 times. You can't move the football off of those turnovers. You lose the game at the very end. You kick the field goal, go for it on 4th down. I had no problem kicking the field goal, whatever. And then this year, it's like, okay, we've gotten so close so many years. This is finally going to be the year. And just the fact that it wasn't and it's not it's heartbreaking. And again, my heart breaks as a Packers fan first and foremost, but also an Aaron Rodgers fan who, might not be back next year. I'm still confident that he will be, but again, just very disappointing. How did you handle that whole situation?
Oh gosh, well, it doesn't help that I'm in Minnesota, so, obviously everybody around me is rooting against it, but yeah, I was kind of like you all week. I have my coworkers like, how you feeling? How you feeling? And I had never felt so relaxed going into a game and so confident. And I was like, you know what? This is the year that we take out the 49ers. And to not even really put up a fight, to not play their best game. It left me feeling numb. Like I was, there's no way that a team like this who has performed so well throughout the regular season is just going to come out like that in a home game at night at Lambeau when it's cold and you have that home field advantage with, almost 80,000 fans. It was just it left a sour taste in my mouth thinking, that regular season was so much fun, especially after all the nonsense in the offseason we had to endure. To go out like that, it was just kind of like, man, it like you said, you're not even going out with much of a fight, just a bland game. And then obviously now we're back, it's like we did a 360. We're back where we started last year with, Rodgers watch and stuff like that. And I guess I don't know how, you're in the media, but you're not in Packers territory, you're in Titans territory. I don't know if they talk about this as much, everywhere, but I'm sure you bring it up on your show all the time. So you maybe are the influence down there that brings it up more than others. But, it's just the Packers being such a big conversation in the offseason. Once again, it's wanting to just enjoy the offseason, but when last year was kind of supposed to be the storybook ending, win the Super Bowl, maybe Aaron Rodgers retires, Randall Cobb gets his ring, all the glory, and just to not have that, and now we're back. Who is going to come back? Are they going to rebuild? Is it going to be Jordan Love? Is it going to be Aaron Rodgers? There's just so much up in the air. And so you kind of mentioned you are confident Aaron Rodgers will be back. I am also in that boat. I think that, he's somebody who has shown there's been changes with the things that he was kind of having issues with last offseason. He has openly spoken about those relationships improving. So that kind of helps me think, if the money is right and the team around him is right, that he'll want to come back, because leaving for another team, I really still think that the Packers are going to give him that best opportunity to run that Super Bowl. And it's just a matter of getting over the playoff hump, which has been a problem for many, many years now, unfortunately. This year it was just an earlier exit than we're used to. So I think, there's a lot of factors that make me think that he'll want to come back. And I think he just loves Green Bay. Some of his best friends are on this team. And I know there's a lot of people who are immediately writing him off because they're disappointed in his playoff performance. Like, I'm not saying I'm not disappointed. Of course I am. But I also am somebody who likes to win. And I think the Packers' best chance at winning is to have someone like Aaron Rodgers, who's coming off most likely back-to-back MVP seasons. I'm not ready to go back. As much as fans say, I'm okay with losing, I don't get how you can say that and then you're gonna have to bite your tongue through the season then when it happens, because I don't like to lose, and I want the best team out there. And I can put aside a lot of the BS that Rodgers says off the field, because I am a Packer fan and I want them to be able to win the Lombardi Trophy and get those rings and celebrate and watch the confetti fall. So I want the best team out there. I'm not ready for, blow the team up and rebuild. And I kind of just get that sense that, people say that, but when it comes to that kind of play and you're losing most of the games and maybe you have a losing record, you win maybe 6 games a season, if that, because you don't know what kind of team you're going to have. I really don't think they're as ready for that as they think they are.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'd like to win, but if Aaron says "Hey, look, thank you, but no thank you. I'm not coming back." I'd almost rather them sort of blow it up than just try to plug Jordan Love in there, because honestly, I mean, look, I don't have much to go off of, but frankly, I just don't think he's really ready to go. I mean, you look at his career, and it was year one when he was drafted. Obviously, the controversy around him, then moving up into the first round and grabbing Jordan Love, and then the COVID year, and I think he dressed one time and had COVID during the season, didn't get mini camp, a traditional OTA, the things like that you need as a young player to grow and develop. So he didn't really have that. This first year was kind of maybe a half or a third of a year. And then last year, to me, it really seemed like his rookie year, his rookie season, where he was the backup. He was practicing. He was the second, string quarterback the entire season. He always dressed out, got that one start in Kansas City. And obviously, I don't know if it was just his ineffectiveness or, the game plan was just very ultra conservative because they didn't want to put him in positions where he wasn't going to be successful. To me, I just don't see him being ready right now. So again, it's a weird place to be in that, that middle of the pack where you, like you said, 6-7 wins, you're not making the playoffs, you're sort of relevant all season. Oh, if things go this way or that way, we're going to get into the postseason. But when it comes down to it, Jenelle, you said you're also confident. What percentage confidence are you that he'll come back at this moment?
I mean, I know he said some cryptic things in his, post-game interview, but I mean, nobody's going to really say, people are asking about his future 10 minutes after he watches another team win and continue on and try and win the Super Bowl he wanted. So I don't take a lot of that stuff to heart, or the tone that he was talking in, because I'm sure, he wasn't in a good place mentally. He knows that he could have played better, and obviously he wanted things to go different. So I don't take a lot of that interview to heart, but he has said things and he interacts with his teammates, obviously, and the relationship with Matt LaFleur is important to him. So I think that, gosh, I'm
You want me to give you mine first? Because I know where I'm at.
I like kind of have a range, but it's like almost overly confident, but maybe that's just me. But he's just giving me the vibe that, he's not somebody who I think is ready to retire because he's a competitor and he has said multiple times he believes he can play into his 40s. And also, Tom Brady's no longer in the league. The path is much clearer not having him in the same conference anymore or not having to go through him. I think that plays a huge factor in it, whether people think it or not. One of the league's greatest competitors is no longer in the game. That opens a lot of doorways for a lot of teams. So I think that maybe that plays a factor in it, even though him and Tom Brady are buddies. Maybe Brady will go and support him now, but I think I want to say maybe like 70% positive that he's back with this team.
That's exactly where I'm
Is
at.
that where you're at too?
Exactly what I was going to say. 70% is what I've been talking
Mhm.
about this entire offseason so far. I felt more confident going into that game against San Francisco that he'd come back, but after losing that game, I'm like, oh shoot, like
Yeah. I don't
I
think
don't
he
know
wants
if
to leave his career on that game.
I would hope not. I would hope not. Yeah, it would be disappointing if he did. But what you were talking about in terms of his best chance to another Super Bowl, even if he doesn't choose to stay in Green Bay, I just don't think all these people that think he's going to go to Denver
Which
or
Denver is basically in a rebuild too. If he doesn't
yeah,
want to be in,
sort of. I mean, they have a great offense. Let's not. I mean, they
they
have
would
great
have to give
offensive
some of those
weapons.
pieces to the Packers though. They wouldn't get to keep everybody and also
Well, I
get Aaron
mean,
Rodgers.
who would you ask to give up? Like, who would you want?
Oh
Would it
gosh.
be like a Jerry Judy? It would probably be like a Jerry Judy and like a bunch of draft picks because I don't think that team is going to give away a lot of ready-made pieces. I know
Yeah.
Nathaniel Hackett's there, but again, I don't know why Aaron would want to go to the AFC West because they've got Justin Herbert, they've got Derek Carr, and oh yeah,
Right.
they have
Yeah.
this guy named Patrick Mahomes who's pretty decent in his own right. But yeah,
Yeah.
they have
The path
so
is
many.
much more difficult there than it is
Yeah,
in the NFC
anywhere,
North where
anywhere
you
in
have
the
been a tyrant for most of your career.
Yeah,
It
anywhere in the AFC is I just don't think is the best path. There's so many good young quarterbacks out there in the AFC, and you just alluded to it, Janelle, that Tom Brady's no longer there. The
mhm.
best fits for me that I see with Aaron Rodgers, the Packers, or I hate to say it, the Bucks.
Yeah, I guess now they're looking for a quarterback too. And, Aaron Rodgers, a little bit older, might want to get down in that Florida sun. But I guess that would be a really interesting transition, playing in Lambeau Field, the frozen tundra, for like all of your career and then having to go play in a warm weather stadium where, he doesn't always play well in, we've noticed. So that would definitely be
It's just Jacksonville.
an interesting move. I mean, California, not always
Yeah,
his
I
best
know.
either,
I know.
but yeah, oh, that would make me so upset. I just,
Yeah.
he needs to come back to the Packers and prove a lot of people wrong, basically. There's a lot of people with opinions about him, but at the end of the day, if he can just come out and do his job, make a lot of people regret the things that they're saying, and he can still play at a high level. One bad playoff game doesn't erase an MVP season, although a
Yeah.
lot of people think it does. I mean, of course, you want to go out and win the Super Bowl, but it's hard. It's hard to get there. A lot of teams haven't made it or haven't won it. So he has at least won it once. And I mean, there's just a lot of factors that go into it. A lot of people have to do their job. And of course, Aaron being the quarterback, he is kind of a huge piece. But yeah, I mean, here we are off season. So what do you, now that NFL season in both of your respected teams is over, what are you going to do now?
Well, I mean, the big story this past week was Aaron purchasing some land in Franklin, Tennessee, near
Oh yeah,
Nashville.
that nice little video where talking about he purchased the land, but he already, has the house. Just a lot of good yeah, I guess you're kind of connected to that story just in the
Yep.
location
Yeah, so
factor
we
of
talked a
things.
lot about it on Friday and on the show. And, Titan fans, it seems like I don't think a lot of them think it's going to happen. I think the majority of people said 0 to 20% it happens because they have Ryan Tannehill. They're already locked in
Right.
for some money. And if they were going to trade for Aaron Rodgers, you would hope that they would give up Ryan Tannehill. And my thinking was on that, if you do try to make that trade, and if he does want to go to the Titans or whatever it may be, look, I like Mike Vrabel a lot. Their defense is very nasty, and they have a really good young wide receiver in A.J. Brown. And, oh, yeah, Derrick Henry's on that team as well. You would have to trade Ryan Tannehill. And if you traded Ryan Tannehill to the Packers, obviously with picks or whatever it may be, it would be interesting to see what the Packers would do from there because, Davante could follow to Tennessee because he's a free agent if the Packers don't, sign him to the franchise tag. And from what Aaron said about that situation, doesn't seem like Davante wants that franchise tag. He wants to be paid like the best wide receiver in the National Football League. So, like Aaron said, we're going to know by the end of February, early March, what he's going to do, what his decision's going to be. And I think he learned from Favre that it's not great to keep, waffling back and forth and being indecisive and just, hey, take a month or two, watch the Super Bowl, wait to see what happens with the franchise tags. If they can get a deal done with Davante, I think that's going to be absolutely huge and monumental for him coming back here because it seems like wherever he goes, he wants to play or get an opportunity to play with Davante Adams again.
Yeah, I definitely think that Rodgers staying or going sways Davante because I think if Rodgers stays, Davante maybe will consider that franchise tag, which is interesting because Packers don't ever use their franchise tag. But I'm sure being somebody who's down covering the Titans, if Rodgers is going to leave, I'm sure that's the team that you would love to see him at. So you get more and more opportunities to talk about him, which is funny because somebody mentioned to me earlier today the idea of if we don't have Rodgers, maybe trying to get Tannehill. So it's really interesting that things come full circle like that. But I just hope that we don't even have to worry about that. But
I'd rather not cover him. I'd rather not cover him in Tennessee and leave him in Green Bay because that's where I would love him to see him finish his career. And I think, look, Jenelle, honestly, just to kind of wrap it all up and just kind of bring it full circle, when he was drafted here, we didn't know what we had, and he's been terrific his entire time here with the Green Bay Packers. And when Matt LaFleur came into the mix, really didn't understand the offense. And before that, it was the end of the Mike McCarthy era, and they really weren't sure exactly where Aaron was from a talent standpoint. And then obviously after he picked up the offense after year one, he was phenomenal. He's been great. So if it were up to me, and again, I don't have the Brian Gutekunst GM hat to put on, but I would say, all right, we all want Aaron back. We understand he's still playing at a high level. He could probably play at a high level for the next 2 to 4 years. Let's say 2 to 4 years conservatively. Let's understand and realize our mistake of drafting Jordan Love. Let's ship him out for something. We can get rid of that distraction and just say, Aaron, you are our present. You have 2 to 4 years. Go try to win a Super Bowl. We're going to try to do whatever we can. And then after you're gone, whatever happens, happens. It was kind of like with the New Orleans Saints. They went all in with Drew Brees to try to get it. And, I was down there covering the Saints at the time, and I really respected what the Saints were trying to do, really going all at it to get Drew Brees that final championship. And unfortunately for them, it didn't work out. But I liked and respected the way the Saints went about that because they understood what Drew Brees meant to their franchise, and they were willing to do whatever they could do to try to get him another Super Bowl because he deserved it. And Aaron deserves it as well, the way that he has gone about with this franchise. And it would be just great to see him finish his career with the Green Bay Packers.
I absolutely agree. And I'm really glad that I was able to bring you on to talk about this, give you a little platform, because I know you're a big Packer fan, but you're also a huge Aaron Rodgers fan. So I wanted to be able to kind of have this conversation with you as we wait for the next few weeks to see what decision is made. So thank you again for coming on. Do you want to tell the people where they can find you and where they can listen to your work?
Yeah, absolutely. It's on social medias. That's TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. Yes, we've started a TikTok if you have not checked that out yet. It's nothing crazy, no fancy dances or anything like that, but we do a little bit of sports talk and debate, and I bring up little videos and stuff like that. It's just fun, sort of off the air content that I'm trying to kind of push out there, just more exclusive stuff. So find it, as you see in the video here, at G_ESPN chat. And you can catch me on the Word with G, ESPNChattanooga.com, or on the ESPN Chattanooga app, noon to 2 Eastern Standard Time, every single day, Monday through Friday.
Yeah, forgot your Eastern time, which is really weird. So we had a little fluke getting ready for this video, but Eastern time for you, Central time for me. Well, thank you everybody for tuning into this episode. Thank you again to Greg for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Jenelle.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone be sure
Appreciate
to
you.
like, share, subscribe, and listen to the daily podcast as well as watch the videos. And tomorrow we'll have another little guest as Andy's out of town, so that'll be another little fun surprise for everyone. So take care and go Pack Go.